Hi friends, I am Dr. Mallikarjun S. Biradar, Assistant Professor in Mathematics, Government First Aid College, Basavakalyan, Bidar District. Today we are going to discuss a topic of graph theory in mathematics. Title of my topic is Planar Graphs. Already we have studied so many basic ideas and concepts of graph theory in the previous classes or in the previous semester. We have studied different types of graphs. What is graph, different types of graphs, and all those basic ideas we have studied. So now graphs, you may consider any kind of graph. Graphs are classified only in two ways. One is either planar graphs or non-planar graphs. Very interesting. The previous semester, different types of graphs. You consider any graph. That graph is either planar or non-planar. Only two kinds. First, we will think of planar graphs. What do you mean by a planar graph? A graph G is said to be planar graph if it is possible to draw on the plane without the intersection of edges. For example, I shall consider one example. This is a graph which is called complete graph with 4 vertices. Now you may say that there is an intersection of edges. But what I said, a graph, if it is possible to draw on the plane without the intersection of edges, then it is called planar graph. This graph, it is possible to draw on the plane in this way. Now this edge I shall rejoin in this way. So now I have drawn without the intersection of edges. So therefore this graph is called a planar graph. Is it clear? Now instead of using a sentence, if it is possible to draw on the plane without the intersection of edges, we use a word embedded. Embedded. So same planar graph is defined in another way. A graph is said to be planar if it is embedded on the plane. Then it is called a planar graph. Is it clear? So now we will think of non-planar graph. I shall consider one example, K5. This is our K5. Now I try to redraw this. Let us see, is it possible to draw without the intersection of edges, or is it possible to embed on the plane? Now, instead of joining this edge, I may redraw in this way. Instead of joining this edge, I may redraw in this way. Now, this edge is left out. How to join without the intersection of edges? If I join this, again there is a crossing, so I cannot draw in this way. So how to join? So it is highly impossible. Even if I try to draw in this way, there is an intersection. So therefore it is not possible to embed on the plane. So therefore K5 is non-planar. So this is how the graph, it can be either planar graph or non-planar. When you will say it is planar graph, if it is embedded on the plane, it is called planar. Otherwise, it is non-planar. Okay, a planar graph, once if it is embedded on the plane, then this graph is called a plane graph. A graph If it is a planar graph, if it is embedded on the plane, is called a plane graph. Okay, so this is about the planar graph, non-planar graphs, and a plane graph. We will consider another example, K33. Okay, so 3 vertices at the top and 3 vertices at the bottom. It is utility problem, 3 houses and 3 utilities. So we try to draw this graph without the crossover of the edges. Now this vertex with this. Now we need to join these 2 vertices without the intersection of the edges. Is it possible? Let us think. If we join in this way, there is a intersection. If we take the edge in this way, again there is an intersection, there is a possibility of intersection. So now it is not possible to join these 2 vertices without the intersection. So therefore K33 is non-planar. So therefore once again we will take different example. This is a planar graph. This is also a planar graph. These are all planar graphs. Now I will ask you one question. Is it a planar graph? Basically, if you observe in this way, what you will think that there is an intersection, it may not be planar. You may think in that way. But it is possible to redraw. It is possible to redraw. So this edge I may rejoin in this way. So therefore, it is embedded on the plane. So therefore, this is a planar graph. Once if it is embedded on the plane, it is called a plane graph. So this is planar graph and its plane graph. Now we will discuss the other ideas. Interior face, or you may say region, and exterior face. Exterior face. I shall consider one example. Okay, this is one graph. Now, this is a bounded region. This is a bounded region. This is another bounded region. This one is another bounded region. So bounded regions, say R1 is bounded region, R2 is another bounded region, and R3 is also a bounded region. There is one more region outside which is unbounded. So that region R4 is called exterior region. So bounded regions are called interior regions and unbounded region is called exterior region. So interior region and exterior region. The bounded region are interior region. The unbounded region is an exterior region, or you can say face. So in this example, in the graph G, R1, R2, R3 are interior region, or you can say interior face, but R4 is unbounded region, which is called an exterior region. Okay, so now